Well, here's what happens when you have 12 inches of rain. Even with that tree growing with the root system in it, that little dry creek that so many years I crossed, it wasn't dry. And it literally took out part of the road right here. That's why I wanted to show you that tube. I put that tube in and it withstood that kind of pressure, water going through it. Mother Nature, boy, I'll tell you what, that whole tree, that whole side's falling off now. Man, that took another big tree down here. Now those are big trees that it just eroded right out of there. Grass is 2 feet tall. It really, really was something. And like I said, if picture's 1,000 words, this will tell you how much rain we've had down here. That's a big tree. That's a big tree. And it took that root system right out of there. I guess that's Mother Nature's form of hinge cutting. That took some powerful, powerful water. And look at that. My heart goes out to you people that have lost your living, your personal goods, your homes, everything. Just lose a few trees along a creek bank's one thing, but to see your farmstead washed away, that's a whole different game. 2019. Let's venture down here and look at this clover crop. You can see how tall this grass is. That's chest deep. I don't know what the clover look like. That Missouri crossing held up somewhat. Pretty proud of that. It went through a beating, but it's still got a rock crossing in it. Yeah, it costs money to do that, but then again, I don't think it ever kept a tube in here. Oh, more trees taken down. There's another tree uprooted. That was just raging through here. Oh my God! Look at this clover crop. This is that clover crop that I fought so hard to get started last year. I can see 1, 2, 3. I can hand pull those weeds out of there. But let's see how tall this stuff is. There you go. That's intense there, so that's 1 foot 2/10, which is 12.5 inches tall, a foot tall. But you're not going to mow this, that's for sure, because it's way too wet to even get down here. Yeah, that, like I say, you've seen the results of all that hard work last year and the integrity of Whitetail Institute clover. It kept coming and it kept going, and I kept working it and pulling weeds, hand pulling, and doing whatever you could do. And a year later, on the 5th of June, you're rewarded with a perennial crop of this magnitude. And I can see where the deer have already traversed through here this morning. They've been out here. Ah, boy, this is, you couldn't mow this. You'd have to walk every inch of this and make sure you didn't run over a fawn, because it's really deep. But they've been out here. And like I said, right in that area there, that's where I had that. Well, you can still see those old Christmas trees in that blind set up. But this thing really, really took off. Over a foot tall of whitetail Institute clover. Mixture of advantage and insight. And very few grasses. Just a few. There's not going to be a few here in a second. There it is. Brand new baby fawn laying on the clover field. Look at that little dunny. Oh man. From nature's worst to nature's beautiful. It don't get no better than that. New life in the woods. Born right here on that clover field that I planted on Friday the 13th, 2018. Yeah, as I walk through this clover field that I fought and struggled and videotaped from the day I planted it to the rationale of plowing it back under a year later, that little fawn over there is priceless. Land management, trying to give back. The rain did do something, and I want to bring this to your attention. This is a perennial. This is the staple. If our annuals let us down for like the corn and the beans, the late planting, we'll always be able to fall back to this because the deer will graze upon this 365 days a year. So remember that your perennial is your mainstay. We're going to venture up here to the oldest clover plot, and it's probably pretty well. I'm going to take this out this fall, and it's being consumed. It was horribly wet in there, and I mean it's still too wet to mow or anything, and it held up good for 9 consecutive years. But as you can see, this area up in here was really wet, and the grasses are starting to take it over. Still good clover in there, but it's not as nutrition. And my plan is this will be an annual. Probably come in here this fall and tear this out and put a fall annual in, a pure attraction or beets and grains, something of that nature. I'll tell you, this place has grown up, and you're not going to mow anything in here. And another reason you don't want to be mowing is fawn dropping time. It was just great to share that video with you. Another Whitetail Institute clover plot, and it's holding its own. It's doing pretty good. But here again, it would be nice to get in there and mow this, but it's not going to happen. And here again, this was planted in 2015, and you can see it's over a foot tall also. But it does have some grasses in here. But being snorted by deer. Oh, let's get out of here. Been using this trail. Had a little bridge right there. Probably in Missouri now. Just a temporary, get the little tractor back and forth. It's no big deal. 2 planks. Pretty happy with the results of that Missouri crossing. It held up good. Need to do a little critiquing on it, but when it does dry up, I can still get the machine across here. Get another load of rock in here. But, oh boy, devastating. Yeah, you definitely wouldn't want to be mowing around in here. The grass is too high, and you just seen that baby fawn just fell in a hole. Mowing is definitely off the agenda. Glad to see the tractor still sitting up here. You never know, unstable ground underneath of it. Well, let's get out of here. That gives a better bird's eye view, the erosion, that came way out in that was, you can see how the tire track did come down. And now that took that track out. So I had to move the trail over a little farther. Lots of water, hydraulic pressure of water moving the earth. In other words, erosion. Out here in the Alpha Rack Plus, that was with a clover and a chicory and alfalfa. And I believe we planted this on the 25th of April last year. And here again, it really came in handy this year. You've got your alfalfa in here. You got your Whitetail Institute clover and your chicory. Extremely well. That's why a perennial, as I emphasize, is your bedrock. I couldn't plant it this year, but I sure benefited from all this rain. As I stand out here in this field, this was labor intense. I planted this last year for this year because I wanted I was stressed for time at getting food plots planted, so I thought if I went with a perennial. Planting this on the 25th day of April 2018. And my reward is, right now, as I stand out here in this field, and it needs mowed. That right there is 1.5 feet tall of alfalfa, chicory, and Whitetail Institute clover. Now, I don't care what you believe in, and I'm not selling you anything, but food plots like this don't come easy. You got to work your ass off. You're not going to get that on a smartphone. If you don't put these in motion, nothing's going to happen, and these are getting weaker by the day. But you can do it. But it's not an easy task, and there's no silver bullet, and there's no you plant this seed and voila. That's bullshit. You've got to nurture it along like a child. Just because you had a child, he's raw material. Same way as seed, it's raw material. You have to nurture it along to get a crop or a citizen out of your child that's productive. And it don't come just by saying, well, I fathered a child, and now I'll let him do his own thing. No, there's too many weeds out in society right now that are in competition for people with any kind of morals and ethics. They're being challenged every day by the Democrats. And that's a political statement. You can take that to the bank. They think everything should be equal. Bernie Sanders, what a blowhard. I could put him to shame in a heartbeat. He ain't never broke soil. He ain't never broke a sweat. But yet he wants to make everything equal. It don't happen in food plotting, and it don't happen in life. So get that straight. If you don't get nothing out of this non-typical son of a bitch, take that to the bank. Right there. That's on my heart. Non-typical.